when you want to measure this particular section is 9 point. This is 9.4. Use properties of rectangles, triangles, and trapezoids. Understand linear, square, and cubic measure. When you want to uh, measure length, you measure, reminding of a line, you would measure, to measure length, you would use something like an inch or a foot or yard or a mile, um, centimeter, and meter. The units of measure is used to measure a distance. When you want to know how much tile is needed to cover a floor or the size of wall to be painted, um, you need to know the area. Um, when you're looking at the area, you're looking at the measure of a region to cover the surface. Area is measured in square units. We use square inches, square feet, square centimeters, and square miles to cover an area. A square centimeter is one that is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. A square inch is one that is 1 inch by 1 inch. When you're looking at area, you're looking at a measure of the region needed to cover a surface, 1 square inch to cover it. In this example here, you see a rectangular rug that is 2 feet by 3 feet wide. So each square represents 1 foot by 1 foot. So you have a total of 6 squares here. So the area of this rug is going to be 6 square feet. So the rug is 2 by 3 feet. Each square is a 1 by 1 foot rug, or 1 square foot, and there's 6 of them here. When you want to know about capacity, how much it takes to fill a container, you're looking at the volume. Volume is measured in cubic units. That's just cubic inches, cubic centimeters. Okay. When you look at measuring the volume of a rectangular solid, you measure how many cubes will fill that container. Okay. A cubic centimeter is a cube that measures 1 centimeter on each side, length times the width times the height. A cubic inch is one that measures 1 inch on one side, the length times the width times the height. So a cube here that measures 3 inches on each side is one that is made up of 27 uh, 1 inch cubes, or 27 cubic inches. Can you see the 27 cubic inches in here? 3 by 3 by 3. So if you have a 3 by 3, you have 9. Then if you go up, you have 3 of them. 3 times 9 is 27. So you have 27 cubic inches here. Now they want us to tell us, for each item, state whether you use a linear, square, or cubic measure. So you're looking at something that's going to cover, how much something is going to cover for a carpet, which is the area. This would be a square. You're measuring how long something is, a distance. That's a linear measure. You're measuring the volume of sand, volume, cubic measure. The length of a certain rod, the length is a linear measure. The volume, cubic measure. The area, something covered, square measure. Okay, what is the perimeter? The perimeter is simply the distance around the outer edge of a surface. The perimeter is just the distance around the outer edge of a surface. The area is a measure of how much it's a measure of the surface covered by a figure. It's simply a measure of the surface covered by a particular figure. So here we have a tile that is 1 inch on each side. So if the ant walks all around the edges of that particular square, it would walk 4 inches. That distance is called the perimeter of that particular tile. If it takes 4 inches to go all the way around, That's the perimeter. If you want to know how much area that particular 1 inch tile covers, it's going to be area is equal to the length times the width. In this case here, 1 square inch. Okay, and this one here, they want to know the perimeter of it and the area. So 2 square tiles is 1 square inch. Two tiles are shown together. These are 2 inches here. What is the perimeter? So what you have to do here is that you draw the figure, then you label it as much as you can. If they're side by side, then one tile, 1 inch, another tile next to it will be a second inch. Then down will be 1 inch. And look back across, 2 more inches and 1 inch. To find the perimeter here, you would just add up the distance around the outer edge. So when you add up that right there, that's 6 inches. The surface area, the area is the surface covered by the figure. So here we have 2 square inches. So the tile area is going to be 2 square inches here. So if we have it, you have two tiles, one here, one here, one. The area is just going to be 1 times 2. This is 2 here. 1 plus 1 is 2. So the area is going to be 1 times 2, which is 2 square units, square inches for that one there. Now a rectangle has 4 sides and 4 right angles. The opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. We refer to one side as the length and the adjacent side is the width. So here we have a rectangle. The opposite sides are equal. And where the line segments, these are right angles here, mean they equal 90 degrees, where the corners are. Now the perimeter for this here, or the distance from the outer edge, is going to be P for the perimeter. It's going to be equal to W plus L plus L, or P is equal to 2W plus 2L for the perimeter. Remember, the perimeter is nothing more than the distance around the outer edge of it. And for the area of it here, for the area of a rectangle, it's going to be simply the area of a rectangle is going to be the length times the width. So if this were 2 and this were 3, you would have something like this here. 3 times 2, which is 6. And if it were inches, you would have 6 square inches. Now these are some properties of rectangles. The rectangles have 4 sides and 4 right angles. The opposite sides are equal in a rectangle. The perimeter is given by this formula here. P is equal to 2W plus 2L. The area is the length times the width. Now, when you're solving a geometry problem, here's some steps here you want to consider. Read the problem, make sure you understand the words. Draw a figure and label it as much as you can in the very beginning. And look and identify what you're looking for. Uh, what the unknown is, give it a variable, and translate what you want to know into an equation. And then solve the equation, and then check to see if it makes sense. Okay. They want us to find the perimeter here, and then the area. So we can draw the figure and label it as much as we can. 32, 32, 20, and 20. And my unit is meters. So my perimeter is going to be, let's call this W and call this L. My perimeter is 2L plus 2W. So I'm going to have 2 times 32 plus 2 times 20. 2 times 32 is 64. 2 times 20 is 40. Okay, so I end up with 104 here for my perimeter. Remember, the perimeter is just the distance around the outer edge. The next thing they want here is the area. So my formula for area of a rectangle is going to be length times the width. So I'm given my length to be 32 and my width to be 20. And we multiply these together. 32 times 20. We end up with 640 here. And the units is meters, so I'm going to say square meters. And this is perimeter, so I'm going to say meters here. Perimeters are always a distance. Area is always going to be something squared. Find the length of a rectangle with a perimeter of 50 inches and a width of 10 inches. So the first thing I do is I draw out my figure and I label it. I have a width and a length. They want me to find the length of it. Find the length, so my length is unknown and my width is 10 and perimeter is given to be 50. So I can use this formula here. P is equal to 2W plus 2L. And I can plug in what I know and solve for what I don't know. So 50, and my unit in this case is inches. 50. Okay, and my width here is 10, so I have 2 times 10 plus 2L. So now I want to solve this equation here and get L by itself. So let me do a little simplifying. 20 plus 2L. So I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. So 2L is equal to 30. I divide both sides by 2. Okay, and so L is equal to 15. Okay, and this one here, they don't tell us much. They tell us the perimeter but they tell us the relationship between the width and the length. So I draw a rectangle here. I'm given the perimeter is 52, and I'm told that the width is 2 inches less than 2 inches less than the length. So the width is 2 inches less than the length, and I'll just say the length is equal to the length. So I know my perimeter formula, 2w plus 2l, or L. And I plug in 52 here, and I'll put that L, I'll make that an L. So, so my W is equal to L minus 2, so I'll have 2 times L minus 2 plus 2L. So I replace my W with L. So now only variable I have to solve for here is L. So I have to simplify this. So I have 2L minus 4 plus 2L. Okay. So I have 2L plus 2L plus 4. So I have 4L plus 4 is equal to 52. So now I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. Try to solve for L, following the order of operations to solve an equation. So I have 4L plus 4 minus 4. I have 4L is equal to 48. Divide both sides by 4. L is equal to 12. Hmm. Let's see if I made a mistake in here. This is 4. 2 times 4. That should be a minus. 2 times 2 is a minus 4 here. Oh, let's just do this one again. So I have my W and I have my L. W, the width is 2 less than the length. The length is the length. And my perimeter is given to be 52. So P is equal to 2L plus 2W. Plug in. Okay. So the length is 14, and we want to find out what the width is. So my width is going to be 2. So I'm going to have my width is going to be 14 minus 2 is 12. And that's how you do that one there. You have to watch your signs here.